Someone I know spent a decade being careful with money, genuinely careful, tracked every expense, read the books, followed the advice. And at the end of every month, the number was roughly the same. Not growing, not collapsing, just the same, frozen at a level that felt like the ceiling of what was possible for someone like them. The budgeting wasn't the problem. The tracking wasn't the problem. The assumption was the problem. The quiet, unexamined belief that this level, this specific, modest, careful level, was what someone like them was built for. The program running beneath all that discipline was saying, maintain, not grow, not expand, maintain. And so that is exactly what happened. That is what an unexamined assumption does. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't argue with you. It simply executes quietly, consistently, with perfect precision. Now I want to name something, and I want you to listen, not with your analytical mind, but with something quieter, the part of you that recognizes truth before it has time to defend against it. Most people who struggle with wealth, who do the work, who study, who want it genuinely, are running one of 4 programs. Listen to each one carefully. The first is the fixed mindset, the internal voice that says, I don't deserve this. I'm too small, too insignificant, not as a passing doubt, as a fact of identity, something in the wiring, something missing that everyone else seems to have. And because that voice speaks with such quiet authority, you believe it completely. You believe you are just bad with money. So the statements go unopened. The bank's website brings a queasiness you have learned not to examine. An unexpected expense doesn't just stress you, it confirms something you already suspected about yourself. Things feel bleak, not occasionally, as a baseline. And the cruelest part is that the bleakness feels earned, like an accurate reflection of reality rather than a program running on faulty code. The second is the effort bias, the belief that money has to be hard to be real, that if something came easily, an unexpected opportunity, a passive stream, an idea that worked without suffering, it doesn't count, it isn't legitimate. And so the easy path gets sabotaged. The efficient system gets abandoned. The opportunity that required no struggle gets quietly dismissed because somewhere in the programming, wealth without pain feels like cheating. The third is the moral conflict, the assumption that money and integrity cannot coexist, that wealthy people made a trade you are not willing to make. Rich people are greedy. Success requires compromise, and so you stay in the lower paying role, in a minor position, in the virtuous place, quietly resentful of what you have decided you cannot have, not because it is unavailable, but because wanting it too openly feels like becoming someone you don't respect. The fourth is money dysmorphia, the never enough loop, the state where no number, no savings balance, no income milestone, no moment of genuine security ever registers as enough. You reach a goal you once thought would bring relief. The relief doesn't come. The scan keeps running. The low hum of financial threat persists, even when the evidence says otherwise, not because the math is wrong, because the assumption running the scan was never updated to reflect the reality. The feeling of scarcity has become so habitual that security, when it actually arrives, simply goes unrecognized. Now, having heard those 4, you probably recognize yourself in at least one of them, maybe more than one. Maybe you have been carrying it so long it feels like personality, like just the way you are with money, like a fact about you rather than a program running in you. And it is possible, now that you have heard it named clearly, that this is the first time you have allowed yourself to fully admit it. That is not a small thing. The program loses its power the moment you can see it clearly enough to call it what it is. Not a personality trait, not a genetic inheritance, not the truth about you. A program running on hardware that is about to be updated. That is what Session 2 is for. In Session 1 you felt, even briefly, what financial ease feels like from the inside. The absence of the calculation, the absence of the second voice, the quiet of someone for whom the question is already answered. Today, the rep is different. Today, we are not going straight to the destination. Today, we are doing something more precise. We are going to look at the program clearly without flinching, and then we are going to see the alternative. Not feel it fully, not install it completely, just see it the way you see a destination on a map before you begin the journey. You don't need to be there yet. You just need to know it exists and that the road leads there. Maurice Ashley's principle, again, know the end position, work backward from it. Today you are learning the end position more precisely by understanding exactly where you are starting from. 5 seconds is still the goal. 5 seconds where you glimpse not the old program, not the familiar hum of the assumption you just named, but its opposite. The felt sense of someone for whom that program simply does not run. That glimpse is the rep. That is enough for today. Find your position. Close your eyes when the music begins. Let the countdown bring you down. 10. Settling in, the day already beginning to move to the background. 9. Breath arriving on its own. No effort required. 8. Shoulders releasing. Whatever they carried today, they can set it down now. 7. The sounds around you becoming part of the quiet rather than interruptions to it. 6. The body growing heavier, seaported, safe. 5. The thinking mind loosening its grip, thoughts still present, but further away. 4. Deeper now, the space between thoughts widening. 3. The analytical mind growing quiet. 2. The last of the day releasing. 1. Here, open, present, nothing to do. Let the body continue to soften now. You have done this before. The body remembers. Bring your attention to the feet, the legs. Let them release completely, the way they learned to last time. The thighs, the hips, becoming heavy, becoming still, the lower back, the mid-back, the spine giving itself back to gravity, softening downward, gone, the stomach loosening, the breath deepening without effort, the chest opening, no pressure, no guarding, the shoulders descending, The arms, the hands, warm, unconcerned, the neck, the jaw, let it release completely, the face emptying out from the toes to the crown. One quiet field, heavy, still, at rest. Now the breath becomes easier, each exhale taking you further in, the body moving to the background, awareness moving to the foreground. You are approaching the threshold now, that place between waking and sleep where the subconscious is fully open, where feeling is accepted as fact, where what has been running beneath the surface of your financial life is ready, not because you are forcing it, but because you are finally still enough to notice it. The subconscious has been waiting for this kind of quiet. It does not need you to do anything. It only needs you to be present, and you are present now. So in this stillness, without thinking about it, without naming it, without engaging the analytical mind at all, simply notice where in your body the old relationship with money lives. Not the story of it, not the words for it, just the physical location, the place that tightens when something financial feels uncertain, the place that braces when the numbers feel close, the place that holds quietly, persistently, something it has been holding for a very long time. Just notice it, without judgment, without trying to change it, without needing it to be different than it is right now. You are not looking at this to suffer through it. You are looking at it because what is seen clearly, what is located precisely in the body, has already begun to lose the power it had when it was invisible. The assumption was never dangerous because it was strong. It was powerful because it was hidden, running beneath every financial decision you thought you were making freely. You are seeing it now. That is enough. Just breathe here for a moment. Let what you have seen be seen completely. And now, receive this. You are not this program. You never were. This was something handed to you, installed before you were old enough to examine it, written by people who were doing the best they could with the programming they had received. You accepted it the way a child accepts everything, completely, without question, because there was no reason yet to question it. But you are not a child now, and the program is visible now, and what is visible can be changed. Let that land somewhere below the thinking mind, not as a thought, as a felt shift, a slight releasing of something that has been gripped for a long time. Notice what happens in the body when that grip loosens, even fractionally, a small easing in the chest, a breath that arrives with slightly more room, a weight that has been so constant you stopped noticing it, shifting just enough to feel the difference. That shift is not something you are manufacturing. That is the body responding to a truth it has always known but rarely been allowed to feel. The truth is this: beneath the program, beneath everything that was installed and inherited and accepted without consent, there is a version of you that never ran it, a version that exists in consciousness before the conditioning, clean, unencumbered, already whole. Philosophical idealism tells us that consciousness is the only reality, that the outer world is a projection of inner state, that what you assume truly deeply in the body is what the world must reflect back. The program you have been running was an assumption too. It projected faithfully, with precision, because that is what assumptions do. Now notice something beginning to happen without effort. A slight warmth somewhere in the chest, a loosening around the throat, the breath arriving with just a little more room than before. Do not reach for it. Simply allow it. That warmth, that fractional opening is not something you are creating. It is what the body feels like when the old assumption is no longer in charge, when the space it occupied begins to clear, when something that has been compressed for years takes its first unrestricted breath. Stay with that physical shift. Let it become familiar. Let it be the first evidence felt in the body, not argued in the mind, that something different is not only possible, but already present. This is the alternative assumption appearing for the first time in the space where the old one lived. It does not need to be strong tonight. It does not need to be certain. A faint warmth is a real warmth. A single breath with more room is a real breath. The subconscious does not measure intensity. It registers what is felt as true. And this, however faint, is true. Let it deepen slightly with each exhale, not forced, not manufactured, simply allowed. The way warmth spreads through the body when you move from cold into shelter. You do not make it happen. You simply stop resisting it. Stay here. The version of you that never ran the old program, that exists beneath the conditioning in the consciousness that preceded it, is not somewhere in the future. It is here, in this state, in this body, in this breath. Feel its edges. Let it become slightly more familiar than it was a moment ago. That is the rep. That is enough for tonight. Now the words that match what is beginning to form, not as affirmations to be believed, as recognitions of what is already here. I am not my programming. What was installed without my consent can be released with my awareness. I see it now, clearly, without flinching, and because I see it, it no longer runs me from the dark. The assumption that shaped my financial life was never mine. It was borrowed, inherited, accepted before I knew I had a choice. I am returning it now. What remains when it is gone is consciousness itself, aware, unencumbered, already whole. And that consciousness, my consciousness, assumes something different now. Not because I have decided to believe it, because I have felt it, even faintly, even briefly. It is real, and real is enough. Now let the body take everything from here. The seeing happened. The shift happened. The subconscious has registered both more completely than the conscious mind can track. There is nothing left to do now except rest in the new ground that has opened beneath you. It is steadier than what was there before, quieter, more spacious, more yours. Let yourself be held by it. The old program slightly less certain of its grip, the alternative slightly more familiar than it was an hour ago, and somewhere beneath both, steady, unchanged, waiting, the consciousness that was never limited by either. Rest here. Let it settle. It is enough. It is already working.